Alright, ladies, here's something that most people don't tell you, and that is that the moment you raise your standards, your love life is gonna get really lonely, and that's when the doubt starts. And you start thinking, maybe I'm being too picky, maybe there aren't any good men left, or maybe I should just answer my ex again. But let me show you exactly what's happening in this image. Think about, your standards and the men that you're meeting as a pyramid. So your standards are the minimum that you're willing to accept in a relationship. Okay, so the bare minimum of what you're looking for. So when you have really low standards, guess what? You're going to have a lot of men, paying attention to you, going out on dates. As you raise your standards, you're going to have less and less matches. There's going to be less men, but there's going to be a deeper connection with any of those men. Now, as you're working on yourself and you're raising your standards, it's going to feel lonely. And that is part of the process, okay? Because you're looking for that alignment, and that takes work, that takes time. But just understand that it's part of the process feeling lonelier as you're getting closer to attracting exactly what you want. Now, here's the mistake, and that is that many of you think that if you hold your standards long enough, eventually the right man will magically appear, and he won't. I'm here to tell you that he won't. Because raising your standards changes who you turn away, but it doesn't change who you're standing in front of. It doesn't change what you're attracting. So you still have to go out there and do that part. So the loneliness, again, is not a bad sign. It's just the gap between the men that you walked away from, the things that you're not tolerating anymore, and the men that you haven't met yet. Okay, the one that you're trying to attract. And today, I'm going to show you how to close that gap. So I want you to think about this picture right here, this image. When you ignore love, then you're going to be dealing with loneliness, you're going to be craving connection, you're going to be regretting certain things, and you're always going to be with the what if. What if that thing would have worked out? What if I would have tried this thing? And again, sometimes people say, I'm fine by myself. I see this so much. Everybody is like, oh, I'm fine by myself, I don't need anybody. And then you meet one man, that one person that suddenly triggers that craving that existed inside you. But guess what? Because you chose the path of ignoring love, you haven't become the woman who's ready to deal with that and to sustain it. So many times you end up, the connection doesn't move forward. So when you choose to attract love, there's going to be obstacles, and you can avoid these obstacles. This is part of the path. You got scammers, you got ghosting, heartbreak, rejection, mixed signals, starting over again. And of course, there are people, bless their soul, that, meet their high school sweetheart at 16. They end up getting married, in their 20s, had a beautiful life, whatever. Those are the lottery ticket ones that I always call. Good for them. That is not most of us, okay? I had to deal with all of those obstacles and 1,000 more that I don't even mention in my content to get to what I have today. Okay, so just understand, as you're on the path and you're dealing with these things, this is part of the path that you chose. So now it's just about getting better at dealing with the obstacles and how to gathering the skills to get to where you want to get. So the question that I get a lot of the time is, why is love so hard? I don't want to deal with any of this, Ismael. I'm just going to love myself. And what you don't understand, again, you can love yourself on both paths, okay? One does not eliminate the other one. The second path is just about creating a life that includes partnership, not just independence. But the problem is that we don't want to deal with the pain that comes with these obstacles, right? Pain is not always a sign that you're doing something wrong. Sometimes it's the price of becoming capable of having what you want. And think about these experiences. Giving birth, which is probably, I think, is pretty much the most magical experience in human existence. I'm a man, I don't give birth, but I do think giving life to something, it's just a beautiful experience. And the amount of pain that you have to go through, even you're born crying, okay? You're born in pain, pretty much, all right? Building muscle, going to the gym, when you work out, all the pain that you have to go through to have the body that you want, starting a business, rejection, clients don't pay you, leaving the wrong relationship, dealing with an ex, heartbreak, loneliness, setting boundaries, disappointing somebody in the short term just so you don't abandon yourself in the long term. So think about all the pain that you have to experience in each process that reveals growth, that reveals self-love, that gets you to the path to the final outcome that you want to get. But it's not about you don't have to love the pain, but you can learn to love the process. Okay, now, and I love this image. I think I talked to you about it last week. That imagine if somebody tells you, hey, if you're a seed, I have to put you in the dark, in this very, in the mud, and it's dark and it's wet and there's no sunlight. And you're like, no, I don't want to go through that. But if you want to become the tree, this is the process, right? And a tree grows, like I said, both ways. It grows downwards and it grows upwards. So if you don't grow the roots, then you don't get to the fruits, okay? Now, let's say that, okay, Ismael, I'm going to choose the path of attracting love. I'm on it. I'm working on it. So now the thing is that different women go at a different pace, and you have to find out what is the right pace for you. Some people like Nancy has been here for only 2 months and she's already, talking to somebody and it's going great. But you have to think about the skills that you have to develop. And this is this image that I put here, right? You have you here in the middle. You can get to the outcome by foot. You can choose a bicycle or you can choose a motorcycle. Okay. And these are the skills that you're gathering in the journey. Now, some of you say, I want to go by foot. Other ones say, I feel comfortable with a bicycle. And a lot of you say, I don't feel comfortable with a motorcycle. I don't like dating apps. I don't know about dating apps. And the motorcycle pretty much represents a lot of things that you don't feel comfortable with. Each path has its own obstacles. You're the one who needs to decide how you want to face them, what you want to do. But you have to walk the path. And my advice is always, even if you don't want to get the motorcycle, just learn the basics how the motorcycle works. Sometimes you might want to ride the motorcycle for 1 block and then you go back to walking on foot. Sometimes the motorcycle is letting go of an ex. You have to get in the motorcycle to get away from that ex as soon as possible. And you're like, but I don't want to detach. I really like this guy, okay? So think about you. What is the bicycle? What does that represent for you? What is the motorcycle? And I'm telling you, as you gather the skills, the scammers, the ghosting, the heartbreak, all of that is going to get easier, okay? And I love this quote. I love this quote. An idiot in motion will get further than a genius at rest. Of course, none of us are idiots, okay? I'm not saying that, but I love the comparison of people that take action, okay? Will get further than people who overanalyze things way too much. And it's always going to cost you something. It's going to cost you time. It's going to cost you money. But what I've learned when I'm in motion, and this is what a lot of you are doing, when I want to get somewhere, nowadays, what I always do, who's there, who's 5, 7 steps ahead of me, I want to learn from that person. Do I trust them? Do I trust the content? Do I trust what they teach? But always, again, because there's so much manifestation content and, stand in front of the mirror and affirmations. Again, if you're not in motion, if you're not taking action, none of it is really going to work. So the love that you want starts with the woman you become, and you become her by taking the actions that she would take. So who is that person? Who is that woman? That she's inside you, okay? All that potential is inside you for anything that you want in life. But what are the actions that she would take? So always, it's not only looking at your past version, think about the version of you in 10 years. What would that version be telling this version of you right now? Now, here's a quick reality check, okay? And I really want you to let me know in the comments, do this exercise because it's going to help you a lot. You can say that you want one thing and still behave in ways that push that thing away. So I want you to think from these 4 options that I'm giving you, which one best describes the biggest mismatch between what you say that you want and how you're behaving right now? So the first one is a healthy relationship. You say that you want a healthy relationship, but you keep choosing chemistry over alignment. Number 2, you say that you want commitment, but you stay too long in undefined situations. Number 3, you want higher standards, but you bend them when you really like a man. And final one, reciprocity. You want a mutual relationship, but you catch yourself overgiving again and again. So think about these 4 behaviors and see which one really resonates with you. Anyways, that's the video for today, and thank you for subscribing to my channel. And like I always say, for your relationships to change, you need to change, okay? Have a beautiful day.